So I had a couple of the things that I want to shout out that I missed.
You got it written down. You guys prepared.
I had one question for you, Jesse, but I'll just do a quick little thing about like new possible working on.
No, ask me a question and then we'll do the thing. We'll do the shout outs at the end.
Okay, well, it all kind of works in. But yeah, anyway, basically, we do a whole lot of talking about us on here. I was just curious about how BEL and your channel and all that came to be. And you're just like a love for music, or how'd that go?
It's kind of interesting, man. Nobody's asked me that question. So the BEL project was actually something I started about 3 years ago. I was diagnosed with ADHD, and then my doctor told me, he's like, people don't normally just develop ADHD when you're an adult. Usually it's something else that's making you distracted, right?
Yep.
And so it turned out that it was like depression, right? It's just I was good at masking it, I was good at hiding it, I was burying it, and we'll call it narcotics. I cover anything that like changes your state from one place to another. I consider a narcotic. So
okay, fair enough.
So whether it was booze, whether it was just like dumb partying, whether it was drinking so many coffees and Red Bulls that I couldn't move, like it was anything, right?
Right.
And I didn't like that, but I did like some of the elements of the ADHD because I could think about things really quickly. Like I could put myself in a spot and kind of almost remember all the little takeaways of it, and then put myself in another spot and just have the takeaways there, right?
Yep.
So like when I realized that, it was kind of freeing. It was like, oh, this is kind of neat. I was like, I don't know if I want to bury this and take this away. Like I kind of like it. So I started the BEL project, which was Bright and Engaged Living, BEL.
Yeah,
so
I like
the
that.
engagement was like, following things like dopamine and these different serotonin things and different kinds of relationships and activities to keep your focus high and keep you inspired, right?
Yeah.
So that's where it started, and I thought I was going to do business coaching.
Fair enough.
And then that didn't go how I wanted it to. And like I'm a sales coach by profession. That's my like most recent career and like training and schooling and everything. So that's all cool. It's just like it wasn't inspiring, man. It was fun, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So I put that on the burner for a long time, and I was hooked on reactions, bro. I was waking up at 5 a.m. watching them till midnight. Like I couldn't have conversations.
Watching other people do it.
And a buddy of mine living with me at the time, he's like, dude, you explain these songs to me in a way that I like better than this guy on your screen does. He goes, why not
do it? Yeah, nice.
And so there was a Slash Miles Kennedy release was just coming up, and I woke up real early, and I smoked way too many cigarettes, and I had like 4 or 5 coffees, and I put my camera up as it was about to release because it was like at release time.
Yeah.
My camera died. So I like scrambled for my phone, and I put that up, and I filmed it, and I went, that was kind of neat. And I said I didn't realize that I had a couple things to talk about, like guitar tone, mic processing, mixing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, like, I watch all these rap ones. I'm going to watch some rappers. So I did like some Jordan Lucas, showed a couple of my friends, like some of my favorite rappers, right? And it just like, it was fun, but like I enjoy hip hop and rap for other reasons. It's more of an emotional thing for me than like a dissecting.
Totally.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
you seem to understand it pretty well, judging by the questions you've been asking about our songs. Like you picked apart the fact that there's different energies in the different verses. You're asking about the mixing process. Like, it's definitely hitting us with questions that I wasn't not necessarily prepared for, but not expecting. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I got you.
I do enjoy talking about the whole process because not a lot of people really go that in depth with that kind of thing. So
yeah, then Ethan tries to talk about that stuff with me. It's like talking to a blank wall.
Speaking
gibberish, blank wall,
ancient hieroglyphs coming up.
Yeah.
No,
no. So that's awesome, man. That's sweet, and definitely like when it going for like, way to mumble on every sentence I try to start right there. I just thought like for people going forward too, like embrace, like you said, like you started to embrace the way you were feeling, and like like a lot of people let it break them down or whatever, but you were kind of like being okay with it and like moving forward and like doing a lot of positive stuff with it. And I feel like a lot of people, like, obviously I can't speak to everybody and their mental issues like that, because not everybody has the ability to be able to take something like that could be a negative for sure and try and turn it into something positive or get themselves on top of it. But I feel like not a lot of people have an open enough mind to maybe do that or whatever. And I encourage a lot of people who could possibly be struggling, if they have whatever, to just kind of do what you were doing, like take the takeaways and see if they could find a positive in it, and maybe through doing that they'll be able to weed out most of the negative. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which is awesome.
It's perspective, man. And like I talk like it happened overnight, and it didn't. There was a lot of medication, there was a lot of trial and error. Like I went to a therapist, I spent tons and tons and tons of money and time and a therapist. I love my therapist, man. I haven't been able to see him in like a year, but like, dude he was like the big brother that I didn't know I wanted. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and it was great. And like,
Well, that's another thing too. Is I'm not just saying people who have like depression or anything wake up and just think about it and get over it. That's not what I'm
yeah,
saying.
but it's
But like,
perspective, man. It's like I was saying like earlier. It's like I was looking at things and thinking, how is this going to hurt me, or how is this going to take away from me? And then
Yeah.
eventually, I don't know when it clicked or how it clicked, and I went, oh, you know what? Maybe it won't leave. And then
Yeah.
it didn't. And then I went, oh, maybe the
kinda
next thing won't
learn-
leave either.
You
You
kind
know?
of learn to use it because I definitely have. I mean, I haven't been diagnosed, but I have a hyperactive imagination. My brain is bing bang bop 24/7. Have a hard time sleeping because of it. But that also I use that for my music.
Yeah.
If I'm not sleeping, if I'm not doing something that that I should be doing, I'm doing music and I'm hyper fixating my everything into it. You know what I mean? And I use that constant state of fuck, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah.
and it, if you learn to use it in a positive way, you learn to live with it and not like learn to live with it as like you cope with it, but you actually learn to love it in a way.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
like
you find the
Personally.
superpowers, right?
yeah, like it's
I don't
nice.
sleep either, bro. Like I'm up at 5:30, and then like I used to hate it, but now I go, you know what? I asked for this time by myself, and so I'm
Right.
gonna go work on a mix. I'm gonna work on a drum pattern, something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
See, I'm up till 5:30 doing that.
Yeah. Like, and it's like either side of the coin, man. Like either way, you don't have a life. Either way,
Right.
you're interrupting other people.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, I do my best work when it's like, the hours of 12 to 6 a.m. I got no distractions. I got nothing
Yeah.
to worry about. Two people calling me just wondering about their tunes, and that's it. It's like
I'll be working night shift. I'll text him at like 3:40 in the morning and be like,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm
back
still up
tomorrow.
till
He's like,
now.
yeah, I'll send it right now. I'm like, what
Yeah.
fuck?
I mean, that's the thing about a producer is that, you're getting up at weird times and going to bed at even weirder times.
Yeah. Well, when creativity strikes, man, like where you
Yeah.
gonna be, right?
Right? Like I'm always home anyways. Figured might as well put my overactive brain to the freaking work and just grind out whatever I can. I mean, honestly, it's what I love doing. So the fact that I have that kind of constant state of just I need to do shit, it helps in the long run because like I'm always doing something and I'm always progressing. I'm always trying to better myself. Always trying to find new ways I can apply myself to different situations like this. I'm learning how to use different microphones, how to set up things properly, and how to work with other people, like singers that are doing vocals techniques that I've no clue what, I just learned like a bunch of, terminology from Travis that was up here, and he's a freaking fountain of information when it comes to any sort of musical anything. And, just having that open mind, having that brain where it's like, I need to learn, I need to do this, it's helpful. So it's like, you come to terms with, that kind of mindset instead of thinking it's a crutch. It's more of a you as a whole. You kind of embody that. You use that as your advantage. Because a lot of people, they don't have that and they force themselves to do things, and you can really tell, especially in music, when things are forced.
Yeah.
Like you can tell there's a certain energy. Like I know a lot of people, a lot of local artists that you can tell their best work and they're trying to force something,
Yeah.
and it just goes to show it's like you need to believe in what you're saying, you need to have that drive for it, and it's again, it's helpful to have that constant, brain is just on overdrive half the time or 90% of the time.
Yep. I love it, bro. I love the way my brain works, and
Yeah.
I'll take the negatives with the positives 10 times out of 10. And I struggle, man. So I won't keep this long, but
No.
I have a panic disorder instead of an anxiety disorder.
Right.
So very, very similar. I'm sure we've all had panic attacks, right?
Yeah.
But it's like instead of like an event in the future, it's like the steps to the future I worry about.
Right.
If that makes
Well,
sense.
you worry about the in between, not the end.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's not about the fight getting in the end. It's about the car crash and the ambulance not showing up and maybe someone not taking it seriously. And like it's
Right.
always the same story, but it's all these like little things leading to the event that I think I would be. Like when I have an anxiety attack, it's always about an event,
Right.
Yeah.
right? Something in the future that I have no control over. That like if I worry about it or not, it's not going to change anything. So
Yeah.
like that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, with the panic, it's like every little step, and that's the racing thought. It's like how many times can I go up the ladder, and how many variations can I think of where it's going to go wrong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that. I mean, I've been there, but I'm definitely more of a, like I'm trying to get to that end and worrying about the very end of things rather than the steps to get there. In a sense, I mean, I'm always worried about the steps to get there, but I'm definitely not in panic mode. That's for sure.
You know what I mean, though. Like, so,
yeah.
I've had anxiety attacks, but I don't struggle with anxiety day to day. I struggle with panic day to day, and I've had
Right.
panic attacks, and those almost like I have more panic attacks than I have anxiety attacks, but I've had anxiety attacks, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know.
It's different.
Yeah.
Definitely a different
It's all
thing.
yeah.
It's the same but different, right?
Yeah, two sides of the
totally.
same coin.